we driven by power, pleasure, or meaning? Dr. Nick joins us this morning with more. There are different opinions on this from the brightest of the bright.
I was rereading Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning because I'm really fascinated with the World War II and the concentration camps, and reading him as a survivor. His whole book is about our search for meaning, in that he says I love this line. He said, we have the means to live, but sometimes we don't have the meaning to live. A very interesting insight. And then, as I was reading, it was going on to say that, Freud felt that we were driven to pleasure, which we know is real.
Which we know is real.
We know is real. And Adler, another great leader in the psychology field and psychiatry, was about power, so that we're driven to have power. And no offense to Frankl, but I really believe that we've got all three going. We've got three tracks. It's like a railroad track with three instead of two that are running parallel with each other. Don't you think?
Yes, but wouldn't you say that some people are more driven by power? I mean, or that's their whole, they want to control everything, they want power? Or do you think we're all a combination of three, but are some weighted heavier in different personalities?
I think that we are weighted in, I think we're weighted, yes. Some people just think life is about pleasure. I will give you that. And some people think it's about power. And greed and money goes along with that, because that's a power.
And then some people let's think of the nuns, and maybe, it's the meaning, it's the giving yourself over to something bigger than yourself.
Yeah, and the three to me, Whitney, at their very best, though they really are kind of integrated. I'm thinking of, let's say someone goes into the political arena and decides they want to become, a public servant and serve. There's definitely been driven by meaning. It's my purpose is to make the nation better,
right?
Or the city better. But I would hope that they would get some pleasure from that.
Sure.
And I would also hope that that person would realize that they've got power.
And that they have to have some power to do all that.
Exactly. And they want to use that power effectively, efficiently, and for the good of the common.
For the good.
Not, again, a power over, but I use that power in a way to really affect the kind of change that's real, healthy, and itself fruitful.
Yes, but as we change, those change, right?
That's what always strikes me, is because I'm fascinated with developmental psychology. So I'm always thinking, what gave me pleasure when I was 21 doesn't now.
You don't want to spend a whole weekend in the quarter now.
I don't.
But I bet you'll spend 6 hours.
and I think that one of the examples for me is I love to ask people, what time do you go to bed now versus what time did you go to bed when you were younger? There's a big generation gap. I'm ready to go to bed at 9:30, and your son Reed is ready to go out.
That's true.
Right?
That's true.
It's a time warp almost in terms of generations. So yes, I do think it changes. I think meaning changes. People who have changed jobs or career paths, the whole meaning of life shifts. What's important to me, though, Whitney, is that we almost constantly be asking myself, what does this mean to me? And am I getting any pleasure out of it? And am I also pleasing to or with those that I'm engaging with? You want that if it, I always say to myself, I never want to have a drink when I'm in a bad mood. I want to have a drink when I'm ready to play. I've said that to you before.
Yes.
I'm sure I have. Because I'm not doing it to escape anything. Just kind of pumping up a little bit, and it's not really even that much. It's just that pleasure, I think, is I don't want to put it down.
Oh,
God
right.
knows you're not going to put it down.
I am not going to put it down. I mean, if I think of those things I'm most driven by, it might be pleasure. I'm meaning certainly. I don't think I crave power, but I love pleasure. I think I've told you, the grasshopper, and what's that fable? The grasshopper and the ant is saving and foraging, and the grasshopper's out playing all the time. I'm the grasshopper.
Yes.
I wish I were more ant-like.
Yes.
And I am trying to be that way, but it's not my nature.
You said something, though, that let's touch on for a second. That was, I don't think I'm too much into the power. But see, that's when you might have to ask yourself, well, what does it mean to you?
Oh.
Because you see, I think we all need to have personal power.
Yes.
Personal power, meaning
I was meaning power over others.
Exactly. And that's where we can get caught in determining that power is somehow antithetical to fullness of life. It's not. We all need to claim our power.
You're right.
I have the power to get up at 6 a.m. and be at work by 8. Mm-hmm. I have the power to say no to this. Now, the problem we get into is because we get caught in 12-step that says I'm powerless over something. Well, I can be powerless over maybe alcohol, but still have a great deal of power when I'm working or when I'm writing.
Yes.
I know for people, as someone who writes, I can sit down and write, and it doesn't take me that very long to do. But don't ask me to set up production, because that's not where my power is.
I see. Yes, yes. But
so you do have power.
You're right.
You would
right.
accept
Thank
that.
You, for
you do have power.
that.
You do have power.
Yes, I just don't crave power over
not people. Power over.
It's just me.
Yeah, it's just not a power over. But I think everybody has to, again, claim that I'm capable of. Mm-hmm. Maybe a different way of saying it. I'm capable of. I can do this.
It's more empowered.
It's more empowered. Yes, yes. And I often ask people that when I'm working with, do you feel like you've got some power? And they'll look at me funny. I'm like, well, but you need to have power. Mm. Everybody needs to have power to control one's attitude, to control one's thoughts, to self-discipline. The power simply to just make life better. To say I have that is important.
Yes.
The three are important to me.
Yes. Well, interesting.
They're not antithetical.
Right.
To each other.
Even though they each thought their idea was the motivator. But interesting,
yes.
it is probably a combination of
You said something the other day real quick that I thought was you said when I get together with my mom and dad, we have fun. We're easy with each other. Didn't you?
I did.
You said we have fun. See, that's pleasure.
You're right.
That's pleasure.
You're right. It's not an obligation.
Yeah. And it makes it pleasant. To me, again, we tie this in because don't you want life to be pleasant?
Yes.
I mean, there's enough drama in life than to go create it. But to have pleasant experience, pleasant as in pleasure. See how it's kind of realigning, reframing, redefining what these words mean to us.
Yes, yes, thank you.
And they change over the years, you're right.
They do. Thanks. Good reminder, good conversation. Thanks so much.
Bye, everybody.
More Weekends with Whitney after this.